January 8th, 2018. Today's an A-Day. Objective number 5 asks us, how does the energy get transferred through the community? So we have to go over what we did last week because we were out for several days. And last week's lesson had to do with cycles of matter. There are 2 children that need to get in a desk right now. When did we meet last? Wednesday. And I'm very disappointed that I was wrong with my prediction, but that's okay. We got more snow than anticipated. On Wednesday, we talked about carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen. All 4 of those elements make up living things. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen are finite. That means we do not have them in infinite supply. That means they run out. So that means organisms need to die in order to get recycled back into the ecosystem so that other organisms can live. So somebody has to die in order for you to thrive because you need all of these things in order to undergo your life processes. So really quickly, we're going to go through one little piece of last night's homework, which was page 7. And it was the bottom part that talks about photosynthesis, etc. Okay, so we're going to go through this really quickly. So the bottom part of that has, where'd it go? All right, I'll just write the words again. The bottom part of that has, number 1, photosynthesis. Can somebody tell me which cycle photosynthesis is involving? So if you don't know, you can look back at your notes. You can look back at your homework. Photosynthesis, you know this from plants. What do we get or what do we use? Which one do you need? What do we need, Samantha? We need oxygen. So photosynthesis, it makes oxygen. That's a byproduct. So we get oxygen from it. That's involved. What other cycles involved, Mitch? What other cycle is involved? Raise your hand. Hydrogen is not a solo cycle. Hydrogen has to go with oxygen and makes what chemical compound?
It has to be H.
And that's the water cycle. H2O and CO2 is what a plant has got to do to make its food called cho. Helps the plant to grow. What else does a plant need for photosynthesis? H2O and what else? What, Mr. Gallo? CO2. H2O and CO2 is what a plant has got to do to make its food called cho. So all of these things get recycled because of plants. The next part on number 7 is asking us about snowfall and rainfall. What cycles are involved in snow and rain? Number 2, there's only one cycle that's involved in snow and rain because in order for the snow to reach the atmosphere where it can become snow, it's not snow all the time. It has to be what to become snow? It has to be what? It will become gas, but what is the name of the compound? Donna Love? It is water. So that's the water cycle. Number 3, this is on your paper. You should be writing this down. Organism decomposition. What does decomposition mean? To break down, thank you. So if something is being broken down in an organism, what elements are we going to recycle? We're going to recycle all of them. She's right. All of the elements. We recycle energy because it's not created nor destroyed. It just changes form. And energy, Devin, is matter in a different form. So energy is equal to matter times the speed of light squared. That's Einstein's theory of relativity. So organisms decompose, and we're going to get nitrogen. We're going to get oxygen. We're going to get carbon. And we're going to get the water cycle. It's all of them, but predominantly decomposition gives us back the nitrogen back into the soil. The 4th one. Somebody tell me what the 4th one says on page 7. Go ahead, Samantha. Thank you. Tell me what cycle that involves. What cycle is evaporation and transpiration? You should all know that. It's only in one of these cycles. The water cycle. Thank you. Evaporation and transpiration is the water cycle. What is number 5? Alex, get your paper out. Let's go. What's number 5 say, Lara? The actual, I don't have my paper because I let somebody borrow it. So you need to tell me what it says. We're on page 7, number 5. Go ahead. Good. Animal breathing is another name for what?
Selective breathing.
Breathing, sweetheart. If animals breathe, they take in what? They take in oxygen and they release carbon dioxide. So what is that called? Thank you. It's respiration. So which one of these involves respiration? The cellular respiration, the carbon cycle, and the... You also breathe out what? Water vapor. So it's the carbon cycle and the water cycle. Number 6, the last one. I think that one's just the water cycle. What's the words for it? Cloud formation. We get clouds because what changes? What changes in cloud formation? Quickly. Water changes. H2O and CO2 is what a plant has got to do to make its food called cho. That's photosynthesis. Thank you. When we make clouds, it's not called photosynthesis. It's called what? We're making the clouds. Evaporation turns into? Water vapor turns into liquid water is? Really? We need to go over all this a lot more detail, I guess. When it's not precipitation, it's the opposite of evaporation. When condensation. Thank you. Clouds are condensation. All right. On your notes, page 4. We were supposed to have this done last week, so what we're going to do is do this as quickly as we can. So you have a choice. You can work with a partner for 5 minutes, or we could do this as a whole group. If you'd like to do page 4 as a whole group, raise your hand. Mitchell, go to the bathroom quickly. If you'd like to work with a partner for 5 minutes, it's page 4. Look at page 4. It's all the cycles, and you just need to answer 2 questions for each cycle. Yes, I do. Somebody tell me, let's vote. How many people would like to do this with a partner for 5 minutes? How many people would like to do this as a whole group? All right, well, it looks like only 4 people voted each time. So put your hands up higher so I can see because we're wasting time. Partners, quickly. All right, whole group. I guess it's partners, but anybody who wanted, only the people that raised their hand whole group can come and work with me. Oh, sorry.
Are you kidding?
Well, you didn't do that. Okay, these are the things that you need to do. You need to go to page 713. I'll give you 5 minutes on the clock. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, how are transpiration and evaporation, how are they similar? You know how they're different. You should know how they're similar because they both do the same thing. What is their primary focus? Look at the arrows. What cycle is this? What is the name of this cycle? All you have to do is understand the arrows. What is it called? The water cycle. So which direction is the arrow going? Up, and it's going into the atmosphere. So evaporation and transpiration are bringing the water in the same spot. But when it gets into the atmosphere, same place, it's not liquid water anymore. It's called what? It's a gas. It's a water vapor. So how are they similar? They both release the H2O into the atmosphere. So water vapor is released into the atmosphere. I'm just going to put it ATM as atmosphere. Nitrogen is the basis of life as well. If we didn't have nitrogen in our bodies, you wouldn't be able to build and repair tissues and cells, and you wouldn't be able to have any DNA. So you wouldn't be able to pass on your genetic information. And all of your cells would not have any clue what to do. So nitrogen is 78% in the atmosphere, but it's not usable to us. We can't use it. So we rely on some other organism to do that for us. I'm skipping 2 and going to 3. What's the name of the organism that we rely on to do this work for us? What's the name of the organism that takes the nitrogen and makes it into something usable? Alex. Not plants. It's almost plants. Bacteria. Then the bacteria give it to the plants. The plants then take those compounds and suck it up and do what they have to do to make their structure strong, and then the animals eat them. So bacteria do this for us, and you could see that from reading the chart. Do we need to memorize it? No. We need to understand the chart. You need to read it. It says bacteria in the soil, etc. What changes the compounds? It says it in this little thing, Vincenzo. Good. And when that happens, it's a process called what? Lightning. Why am I spelling this like an idiot? Here we go. It's called nitrogen fixation. Lightning. Okay. In the next piece, you have to look at the arrows again. List the processes that return carbon into the atmosphere. So which direction do the arrows go? They go up or they go down? Jared? They're going up. So we're only looking for arrows that are going up. Somebody give me one arrow that's going up. Go ahead, Ams. Combustion. And if you look at combustion, it's going all the way from the fossil fuels. So that's us breaking down fossil fuels that actually came from organisms that lived a long time ago. We burn them into the atmosphere. That's not good for us. Well, it's not good for the atmosphere. We'll talk about it why later. What else goes up into the atmosphere? Giselle? Yes, say it. Cellular respiration. Look, up, and up. Cellular respiration. All organisms that undergo cellular respiration release carbon dioxide. And there's one more, Mary. What is it? The last one. Photosynthesis. Look at the arrow. Which direction is it going? It's going down. Yeah, decomposition is going up. Decomposition. Which one of these do you think contributes to the most greenhouse effect? Do we know what greenhouse effect is? It holds the heat. Which process? Which one of these processes is the biggest cause of greenhouse? What do you think, Anthony? Yes. So which one of these means burning fuels? Which one of these terms mean burning the fuels? Is it composition, cellular respiration, or decomposition? Decomposition, we're breaking down dead things. What's burning? Burning the fossil fuels is combustion. And we're going to say combustion and cellular respiration. We're going to stick to combustion. Because what does combustion do, Ariana? What does it put into the atmosphere? Yeah, it puts the compound in carbon dioxide, which is going to trap the heat. Water vapor also traps heat, but it's not as responsible as carbon dioxide. All right, let's look. And methane traps the heat. That's worse. Imagine there are no plants on the earth. Would we have oxygen? Why or why not? This is a tricky question. And I know Mary knows this one. Lara, would we have oxygen? No plants. Take all the plants off the earth. Would there be any oxygen? Plants are trees. I'm taking off the trees too. Would we have any oxygen? Why do we have a little bit? When the earth first formed, there was no oxygen. None. No oxygen. And then something happened. Our first organism appeared. Where it came from, scientists are still trying to figure that out. But that first organism starts with a B. Bacteria is our first organism. That took in different elements and made the oxygen. Then other photosynthetic creatures emerged. There are organisms out there that are not plants that undergo photosynthesis, like protists, euglena, algae, different types of unicellular organisms like phytoplankton. You ever watch SpongeBob? That little plankton is a phytoplankton. He makes his own food. He doesn't even need the Krabbies. So the answer would be yes, because bacteria and other photosynthetic organisms exist. You were right. Okay. Oxygen gets changed, Trevon, into CO2. How does that happen? Be careful. We make oxygen from what process? Oxygen. We make oxygen from photosynthesis. What do we use it for? Cellular respiration. Good. Ems, you gotta be quiet. Cellular respiration is responsible for changing the oxygen to carbon dioxide. Now plants take that carbon dioxide and they use it for what? They use it to do what? Why do plants, Rachel, need carbon dioxide? Yes, and what is it called to make their own food, Anthony? Photosynthesis. And that's the song that I'm not going to sing. No, H2O and CO2 is what a plant has got to do. If you watch Amelia's Snapchat, you'll see me doing the stupidest. Can you watch people's Snapchats or they have to give it to you? Oh, maybe I'll make, can you put a video on Instagram? Maybe I'll make her put it on Instagram. It's the dumbest thing. Because she put a weird face on me, and then I'm singing, and my voice sounds weird. I'm going, H2O and CO2, and I just look so stupid. It's funny, but it's stupid. All right. Let us change the page to number 7. Get to page 7. Right here. Page 7. Okay. So, visually, whenever you're presented with something, you need to look at it so you can see if you understand it, especially when there's a question on a test and there's a diagram. Don't read it yet. Look at the diagram first to try to see what it's telling you. So visually, we see how many rectangles? There are 5 rectangles. There are also what? Following the rectangles. There are arrows, but the last one doesn't have an arrow. You don't know. It doesn't start at the 4. In between 4 and 5, there's no arrow, so that must mean something. You got to think about that. There are organisms on the left-hand side. What do they represent?
The food chain.
The food chain. Let's read about it. Alex, you go first. You want to come up here and read?